certain things come around, like my man ends up fighting, and I'm like, okay, now I need to lose another 10 pounds. So just focusing more on like dieting and keeping exercising as like a goal that I have throughout the week and not just when I need to do it. I feel like women are put on this planet to nurture. And I just think that that's a natural trait that we have, nurturing. And I just take that on with my everyday life, whether it's my spouse, whether it's my children, whether it's people, like any way I can nurture, whether that's, through podcasts, motivational stuff, just nurture in a sense of just giving back. As a kid myself, having a kid, it was just like, when I'm in the Philippines, I'm not Filipino enough. And then when I'm in the Black community, I'm not Black enough. So I just feel like embracing both races are very important, to not have that pull of like, hey, come on our side or come on our side type of situation. And it's hard because then you have people on the internet, if you post Asian Heritage Month, and they're like, well, why don't you do this for the Black community? And then you post like Black Lives Matter, and then it's like, well, why don't you do this for the Asian community? And I'm just like, I do it for both. Hello, I am Telli Swift. I'm a mother, philanthropist, entrepreneur, and everything I want to be. Welcome to Ever Forward Radio.
What has been going on in your life recently that you expected and something that you have maybe not expected?
Ooh, expected. I feel like I always expect to grow. I don't like to stay stagnant. So that's one thing that I constantly try to do, whether it's in business, whether it's within myself, whether it's being a mother, whether it's in my fashion, whatever it is, grow. That's what I wake up striving to do. Like whatever that may be, just the betterment of everything that I have going on, whether that's podcasts, charity, mom, just grow.
So expecting to work for the growth in those areas. That's kind of what you expect of yourself?
Absolutely.
Okay. What about a little surprise? Maybe something that's going on that wasn't an expectation?
Something that's going on that I'm working on that no one knows about right now.
If you can spill the beans on something, or maybe just like a little life surprise that you're now choosing to navigate differently and, get that growth out of.
Ooh, I don't know. I feel like with fitness, I'm kind of like back and forth. I get to a target weight goal, and then I'm kind of like, all right, I'm happy with what I look like and feel like and where my weight is. I don't really care about the scale.
And you coast a little bit, maybe.
But I coast, yeah. And then when I coast, holidays come around, and then certain things come around, like my man ends up fighting, and I'm like, okay, now I need to lose another 10 pounds. So just focusing more on like dieting and keeping exercising as like a goal that I have throughout the week and not just when I need to do it. I'm a foodie, so that's kind of like my problem. Like, I don't mind working out. I don't really love cardio. I can do weights. I can do conditioning. It's just the cardio. I got to unbig my back sometimes. I'm like, all right, it's getting there where I don't want to wear something backless. So, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard with the food, I feel like, more so than anything else.
What keeps you coming back?
To fitness?
What keeps you coming back to fitness?
I want to look and feel a certain way. When I work out, I feel like it makes me feel better mentally, physically, emotionally better. When I look better, I feel better. So that's what keeps me coming back. And then when certain things come up and I'm like, I know I need to be on camera for those certain things, like full throttle, full body. I'm like, all right, do I want to be seen? With
I
a
think
chunk
about all
here
the
and
times
there.
I got to rock a backless dress too. It really puts a strict timeline on that.
Well, for me, it's hard because like fighting is year round, right? And then when he fights,
your fiance is a fighter, right?
Yes, he's a fighter. When he fights, it's like it's unfair for him. It's unfair for me because he has that gene, that athletic gene, where he can eat smothered pork chops, and I inhale it and I get bloated. So I don't have that gene, and it's just like I want to eat the way that I want to eat.
So maybe you just need to get you in the ring.
Probably so.
Maybe. What's your gut health protocol look like right now? When you kind of notice you're off your game, what do you do?
I take two things. I take, I can't remember what it's bifidus and something else. And then
the strains of bacteria.
Yeah, of bacteria. And then BioK.
Classic strong probiotics, yeah.
Yes. And if that doesn't work, which it usually does, like in the morning time, I take it in the morning time. Fiber, I take fiber too. And if that doesn't work, coffee. Very, very
Calling
strong
the big guns.
coffee.
Calling the big guns,
Coffee always works for me,
Okay.
but I don't like to take it because I end up getting like addicted to like trying to take more coffee and like, all right, if this is working and I know it's working, then I'm taking coffee, and I like my coffee very strong and very sweet.
Okay.
So it's like, give me more espresso shots, but add that caramel sauce. So I'm like,
Ooh, all right.
it's just too much.
I got you. In my backpack, I keep this company called Strong Coffee Company. The best. It's organic coffee, but it's so good for you. Collagen, MCTs for healthy gut, L-theanine, a lot of other things for like brain health, gut health, clean, sustained energy, no crash, no jitters, but it's got a little sweetness for you too.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it to you. I want to hear your
Yeah.
feedback.
Oh, please.
I think it's gonna help
Thank you.
down here. It's gonna help up here.
Thank you
It's
so
the
much.
best. It's the best.
Yeah, I definitely need something that's consistent that doesn't help me gain calories, because then I'm back in the gym. So I'm like going one way and then I'm going the other way and then one way and the other way. So that's kind
Vicious
of
cycle.
yeah.
I got you.
Vicious.
Well, okay, so let's get off the gut health aspect, but I'm glad we sorted out that with you. Let's go way, way, way back. What I uncovered from you is that you got started in kind of the limelight modeling at like age 3.
Yes. Very, very young.
How did being put into the limelight at such a young age, like so young, how did that positively influence you in your life? How did maybe it negatively influence you? Do you have any kind of
you know what? I think with modeling, it's a blessing and a curse, because at a young age, I started so early and I was taught to strive for perfection. So mentally, I feel like striving for perfection can be a good thing, but also a bad thing. So I feel like that particular teaching was kind of hard, because it led me to have like OCD with cleanliness, and like you always have to look a certain way or have to feel a certain way. And if it's not done perfectly, then it could be kind of off or not right. And then I'm trying to fix it. And then it becomes something that I keep kind of going back to.
And also at 3 years old, do you even know what perfection looks like?
It's all like a mental teaching, like if I lose my teeth, you're losing your teeth at that age. So then you're wearing flippers. And then it's like,
what's a flipper?
It's like something that you put on top of your teeth so they don't.
So in between like losing your baby teeth? It's
like you have little fake teeth
like
so you can
implant?
smile. No, like just something that you like pop on there and you smile so you have all your teeth.
I've never heard of this.
No?
Well, I wasn't a child model, so I guess that's why.
Yeah, so and that actually the teeth thing kind of stuck with me, because I had a little gap as I got older. Then I had braces, then I had an expander, then I had Invisalign. Now I have veneers, so my teeth can be perfect.
Your teeth look great,
so
by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But again, that's something that like carried on through life. Like, okay, if your teeth aren't perfectly white or perfectly straight, or you have a gap, fix it. So that was like something that carried on with me, that I feel like I love cleanly spaces and cleanliness, and everything has to be a certain type of way, but it can be too much sometimes, like if my fridge all isn't lined up, facing forward, Gatorades, facing color-coded closet.
You and my wife would get along perfectly.
It's intense.
Do you watch all the TikToks of like the restocking?
Oh my gosh.
ASMR kind of things?
It gives me therapy to clean.
I don't understand that.
It's like therapeutic to me to clean.
It's just watching, like you got to put the bars all in a row. The labels have to be facing a certain way, but also it's like the sound of like the drawers opening and the stashing. It's just.
Yeah, it's satisfying to me.
That's the word I'm looking for, satisfying. I don't get that at all, but for you are.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Like if I go to my closet and I see, if I'm in like the white section and there's a gray piece in there or like a cream piece, I'm like, this has to go here. Or it's so bad to the point I remember Deontay had like a stack of coins. I mean, they weren't a stack. They were just like coins on the counter. And I like literally stacked them, pennies, nickels. And he's like, are you kidding me right now? Like, why are you? I'm like, it just looks better. And he's like, they're coins on the counter. He's like, this is too clean. No such thing as too clean.
Is it about cleanliness or bringing order to what you perceive to be chaos?
I feel like it starts in the morning. If my bed isn't made, I feel like my day is going to be a mess. So it starts literally from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep. And I think it's more so mentally, if it's not in order, I think it's going to be a mess. I feel like my brain kind of works in that sense of clarity means clean.
Not bad. I feel like now we need to get you can we get like a cleaning product partnership? Like, that's got to be a tagline. That's got to be a tagline or something like that.
Telli Tighties. That's my new thing.
Hey, there you go. All right. New YouTube channel coming soon.
Right.
What is the biggest lesson? I also know that you were in healthcare. You were a nurse, right?
Yes.
What is the biggest lesson working in healthcare as a nurse taught you that today you still feel you carry it over into your everyday life?
Yes. I believe nursing and anything medical is all nurturing. And I feel like women are put on this planet to nurture. And I just think that that's a natural trait that we have, nurturing. And I just take that on with my everyday life, whether it's my spouse, whether it's my children, whether it's people, like any way I can nurture, whether that's, through podcasts, motivational stuff, just nurture in a sense of just giving back. And, if someone's sick, like, hey, this is what you're going to do. This is what helps. You don't have to go to the doctor if you're congested, take some melanin tea and you'll be fine, She
knows.
So just little things like that, and just help with nurturing in any way that I can, and just take it on like with my everyday life. And, if I can help some way, just help that way.
My wife is also a nurse.
Yeah.
And now she's a family nurse practitioner.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
So she did nursing for many years, specialized in allergy and asthma. That's actually what brought us out to LA years ago. She went to school at USC for their F&P program. And not to throw her under the bus here, but I'll say the nurturing aspect, I feel is my experience with nurses, it goes kind of one of two ways. You're extremely, like what you said, the nurturing, want to take care of people, and other people just like see like healthcare kind of makes sense, like science and understanding the body makes sense. And then just nursing is how I apply it kind of thing. Would you agree? What kind of is there a duality in like nursing and the types of people that maybe it attracts?
I do. I think, if you're going into any job, not just nursing, I think you have to kind of like genuinely have passion for it and not go in there for the wrong reasons, or your reason might be different than, my reason of going in.
Right. Not wrong, just different.
Yeah, just different. I just kind of feel like this is tough. I kind of feel like certain things can be handled like organically. It doesn't have to be, taken care of with medicine, or it could be like homeopathic, or it could just be like a remedy where it doesn't have to be like scientifically proven that this medication works, or, you could probably go about it in another way. And
absolutely,
so it's kind of like a soft subject, because like I love the study of medicine, but I feel like if you can do it in a natural, healthy way, why not? First, at least first, before you get into like the pharmaceuticals and all of that.
All right. So let's go inside Telli's cabinets, Telli's medicine cabinet. What maybe would we find in there that you keep on deck for natural remedies to, everyday stuff? I'm feeling kind of run down, cold, sinus pressure. What maybe are some of your go-tos?
Definitely hot and cold packs.
Okay.
I have mullein tea. I have that helps with like mucus. So drink that and all of your congestion is completely gone.
Mullein tea.
Yeah. It's like Mullein.
I haven't heard of this. Okay.
The best thing you can take when you're congested, whether it's nasal congestion, chest congestion, it's so good. You can literally get it on Amazon. Go to Whole Foods. Right, it's so good. It's so good. And it just helps with congestion like the moment you take it. Honey is in there as well too. I like to give that like just once a day to the kid, just honey.
That's a great hack a lot of people don't know, especially sourcing locally within, I forget I think mile radius, but the more local honey you can source and take daily does wonders for a lot of people's allergies.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just, the juices like orange juice, vitamin C, just certain things that you could take that doesn't necessarily have to have medicine, or like to take like a Tylenol.
It's all medicine, right?
Yeah, it's all
but
medicine,
but
just not like an
typical
actual
definition.
Exactly. There you go.
All right. I like it. Do you miss nursing?
I do in a sense of like actually helping people and just being there when you feel like you're in your most vulnerable state. And I used to work in Jersey City, and it was a rough environment. And I worked in the ER, and just, there's times where people are like at their last point in life, and then, is there any family we need to call? And then they don't have that. So like, I miss the aspect of like being there for people when it's the most meaningful time in their life, of just being like, hey, I made change today. Now like
I
my
may
changes,
make it or not.
Yes. So it was that, like, it was sad, but it was also like a feeling of like, hey, I'm making a change for someone else's life, and they're able to like pass or transition in peace. That was more of like, it was hard at first, but when I kind of looked at it in a positive perspective, it was easier for me to cope with.
Oh, you had to, I'm sure, or else that's why so many people in the ER get so burnt out so quickly.
Yes, it's a lot. And nursing is a lot. You have 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
It's a lot to deal with.
Yeah, well, props to you for that. I love all my nurses. It's great. What has challenged you more to grow, being a mother or being a nurse?
Ooh, a mother. I was a mother at such a young age.
How old?
And I gave birth to my son at 20. I was pregnant at 19. I was married even earlier. So we very young. I started off very, very young. And as a kid myself, having a kid, it was just like, I'm the eldest out of all my siblings. So I knew how to kind of like raise children, because you have to do that when you're the eldest. I'm like the manager of like the family,
Exactly, yeah.
So
whether you ask for it or not.
Yes, it's a lot of responsibility. And and that goes back to like, all right, am I being a good big sister? And my brother lived with me for many years. So it's just a lot of like pressure, but I feel like the pressure motivates me to grow and keep doing better. So I feel like being a mother is tough, because now it's your seed that you kind of have to have that image to look up to, because I feel like children, everything that they learn and know, it starts in the household, whether that's their morals, their standards, their teaching, it starts in the household, and that kind of molds them to be who they are when they get older.
So as a Filipino, as a woman of color, what maybe do you think is one unique struggle that you have had to overcome, you've chosen to overcome, that maybe other women that aren't like that can't relate to?
Yeah, I think just race in general is a tough battle within people. As far as me being Filipino and Black, I was born in the Philippines. I left when I was 3 years old, but I could still speak fluent Tagalog. My mom made sure she instilled that. Yeah, she could instill that in me to speak Tagalog. And, I obviously don't look full Filipino, and I obviously don't look full Black. So I kind of get that like tug and pull of that, like when I'm in the Philippines, I'm not Filipino enough. And then when I'm in the Black community, I'm not Black enough. So I just feel like embracing both races are very important, to not have that pull of like, hey, come on our side or come on our side type of situation. And it's hard, because then you have people on the internet, if you post Asian Heritage Month, and they're like, well, why don't you do this for the Black community? And then you post like Black Lives Matter, and then it's like, well, why don't you do this for the Asian community? And I'm just like, I do it for both. I have a Filipino flag and a Black fist up, and it's just never enough for anyone. And I feel that like, as long as you're mentally okay with who you are and what your culture represents, then who cares what anyone else thinks?
Not enough for everyone. That's a powerful statement. And I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, especially maybe you're biracial or just coming of age. I mean, hell, the world is a tough place to figure out your place in society, race, religion, culture, personal beliefs, values. How would you advise somebody to go through that, who's maybe struggling with that identity in community or even race like you?
Oh, that's tough. That's definitely been like something that like has been a struggle for myself too. I feel like just figure out who you are as a person first, and how you want to live your life, as far as how you want to represent your culture, and what's meaningful to you, and then just kind of push that out.
But what if the culture aspect is the difficult part that they're struggling with? What if it's, I don't know which culture I feel more aligned with, or by society standards I'm supposed to align with? I feel like I heard that a little bit in your story of Black community, Asian community, Filipino. It's just, which one's which?
Yeah. And I feel like, there's certain moments where I feel like, okay, today I want to eat a certain food that's like very traditional in the Philippines, and I love sinigang, I love adobo, I can make all these things. And there's times that I'm like, I really want to eat this and I want authentic Filipino food, where I'm like, okay, today maybe I'm feeling a little bit more Filipino than I am Black, but it's okay. Like, I feel like people need to understand that it's okay sometimes to feel more of one culture or one race, and there's other times you might identify or feel more of the other race, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be like split 50-50 all the time, or like if I'm doing this for this today, I have to do this for this today as well too. I just feel like as much as I don't want it to be an issue, it is an issue, but I don't think it should be an issue, because at the end, we're all human and we're one race in the end. I'm
with you. I agree. And so this is where I'm going to lean into you a little bit more. I keep talking about my wife.
I'm the same way. You're one at the end.
Exactly. Love you, babe. She's first generation Iranian American. She's Middle Eastern. And I really am looking forward to our children being biracial, being of different parents with different religions, different skin tones, different cultural practices, different foods, different ways of life in general. I'm very much looking forward to that. I know we're going to have some difficulties with that.
Yeah.
Even with just like with the names that we have picked out, they might look like me, might look traditionally white, but we have Persian names picked out, or they're going to look very Persian and go by, maybe a white name or something. But what advice would you give me, someone who is knowingly going into that? What advice would you give me, especially from kind of like the parental aspect of different cultures, different community, different races?
Embracing both so they can have a choice on where it is they might want to, take it in the future. Like my father was Christian, my mother was Catholic. So
which there is a difference, everybody.
Yes, there is very much a difference. And, just taking it upon yourself when, like me, for example, when I grew up, I'm like, okay, I know I used to pray more Catholic, but I now pray more Christian.
Okay, so, can I chime in right there?
Yes.
I have a guess, and let me know if I'm right. I feel like when you were praying more Catholic, you were probably just reciting prayers, whereas now praying more Christian, you are actually talking
own prayers to the Lord. Yes,
exactly.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And it's just like when you get to a point of like I said, it starts in the household. Your upbringing and your teaching defines and kind of molds who you are and you grow up into in a person. I feel like my parents did absolutely the best they can possibly do, my mother and my father, and I commend both of them for raising me the way I would want my kids to be raised as well too. Just be respectful and, treat others with respect and just carry yourself how you would want other people to carry themselves, and
Golden
just
rule.
that upbringing of teaching. But as I got older and, took care of myself, and I'm like, okay, this is more of what I want to do. This
Figure
is
it
what
out yourself.
Yes. And kind of just teach them and just educate them on both aspects of life, whether it's, the Israeli way, where it's the American way, and have them kind of just figure out what they want more of.
Just present the options.
Absolutely.
Yeah, here's background, here's tradition, but also here's you.
Yes.
And here's the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
I'm also really looking forward to, I joke, I'm going to raise little spy kids. So I speak Russian. I was in the army. I was a Russian linguist, Russian intelligence specialist.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm fluent in Russian. She speaks Persian Farsi. I want English to be their third language when we have kids.
Russian,
Persian, Farsi, and then English.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. It's so crazy that you say that, because my daughter, she's 5 and she's taking Spanish class, and her nanny is Hispanic. So I instill like Spanish, and neither one of us speak Spanish. So I instill Spanish in her. And every time she says Spanish words, I'm like, what does that mean? She's like, no, like, it's not for you. Like, you know,
it's part of me, mama.
Yeah. Like, it's her. And I love it for her. And I could speak Tagalog, and obviously we speak English. So
is she learning Tagalog?
Yes. I'm trying to teach her Tagalog, which is so similar to Spanish, but it's tougher for her to speak Tagalog than it is for her to speak Spanish, because she's like been speaking Spanish since a baby. Mm-hmm. So Tagalog is kind of like harder for her to say, and she's 5, so she still has a little lisp, and you know it's cute, but
well,
so
now's
it's
the time,
harder
right?
for her.
I have always heard that, you know, children in those formidable years of learning language and, you know, cognition literally happening and forming, you know, for the first time. Language is like, that's the time to do it.
Yeah, they're sponges at that time. Yeah. Like she's I feel like she has a high school schedule so intense. Like she has like Spanish, she has science, math, Bible, just so much different things that she's learning right now.
Already raising a high achiever. Love it. Is she biohacking yet? Is she cold plunging?
No, she's not. She's not doing that now. Cold plunging. Deontay might try to get her to cold plunge.
Oh, he's on board.
He's on board with cold. We
have
like a whole recovery downstairs in our house in Alabama, and we have a cryo, we have the hyperbaric, we have the cold plunge, we have this treadmill that like helps with gravity.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot what it's called. It's like your body's like halfway in it.
Yeah.
And it helps you like run a certain speed. However, if you want to do 4 miles in 30 minutes, it helps you run off, and takes, I think, like a percentage of your body weight off to run less, but longer.
Man, the things they come up with now, it's crazy.
Intense.
Back in the good old days, you just would go for a run.
Right, outside,
just run faster.
not inside. Exactly, yeah.
Well, another big part of your background is being on television and being a reality TV star. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Is there anything that you would like to go back to in general, we'll say, and, you know, reframe? And kind of my reasoning behind that question is, I don't watch a whole lot of reality TV. My wife does, she loves it. But in our culture today, reality is everywhere. Social media, TV, TikTok. And I gotta believe that they probably don't always paint people in the best light, or they find an angle and whatever gets the ratings and views. Is there anything maybe that you would want to go back to and go, I wish this was a little bit different, or just anything you, okay.
110%.
She's like the whole thing.
When I did WAGs,
Atlanta, right?
Atlanta, I felt like it was, I mean, I got pregnant on TV, so my storyline kind of completely changed. And I felt like I was more so portrayed as like the nagging girlfriend of like, marry me, marry me, marry me, marry me.
Just the hormonal pregnant lady kind of thing.
And it was like, this isn't what I want. I want marriage. I want a ring. I want this. I want that. And we were talking about this way before we were on reality TV, way before I had a baby, way before any of that aired. So I feel like it was just like kind of like I was just nagging, and that's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want.
These are the clips you guys find?
Yeah, like, and I feel like that's what sells reality TV. So you can't kind of get mad at them for knowing what makes it good. But at the same time, if I was a producer, I wouldn't put all of that out there. But that's what's relatable. So, you know, I kind of might change how I would arrange how it's pushed out. But, you know, as far as reality TV goes, I'm a binge watcher of reality TV myself. I love all the Love is Blind, Ultimatum, Love Island, you name it, I'm watching it. I don't know, the new one. It's like they're in the backyard of a house. It's like Surviving Paradise or something.
Yeah. I've seen a trailer or something for that. Yeah.
I watch all of them.
Damn.
You name it, I'm watching it. Traitors, I'm watching Traitors. What
about Bachelor, Bachelorette?
I don't watch Bachelor and Bachelorette.
I don't anymore.
Used to. I used to watch it like avidly, and Big Brother avidly like years ago. But all these like new reality shows, I'm like, this is intense and this is so good.
The last one I watched was about 3 years ago, because one of my good friends here in LA, he went on The Bachelorette, and he wound up being one of like the top 3 finalists a couple of seasons ago, like 3 years ago. And he also was a former military guy. And the producers decided to take some creative liberties in the title that they put about his military career. Technically, they weren't wrong, but also they weren't right. Anyways, public backlash, especially from the military community, was pretty gnarly. Like, my guy even got a couple death threats. Like, people coming up to him. Have you ever experienced the backlash, the negative backlash of celebrity life?
Yeah. I mean, that backlash comes within like, you know, your relationships. Backlash comes within like what was pushed out there, like you said, which that's why I was like, I would want it a little bit different. So like what I would deal with, whether that's social media wise, whether that's article wise, like, why is it you want to get married so much? And I'm like, isn't that the point of a relationship, is wanting to get married? But it wasn't as like I'm nagging about it. Like, hey, when are we going to get married today? When are we going to get married? It's not
every time I'm on the scene.
Yeah, like every episode, you know? So it's something that we've discussed for a long time. And I feel like when it's pushed out that way, reality TV, I feel like it's a part of that person, but it might not be completely who that person is.
Part of, not the entirety.
And the way that it's pushed out, it makes people look like that one bad moment is who that entire person is, and it is not that at all. Because even when I've interviewed people on like my podcast with that do reality TV, and obviously you have that prejudgment of that person because of what you've seen. And then you meet that person and you're like, oh my gosh, like this person is a doll. And why would I think this of this person, you know? So it's a portion of them, and they're in the most vulnerable part of their life when they're showing the world their life. So I think that's a struggle too, that people don't understand, that might want to do reality TV and don't know what they're getting themselves into. It's not as pleasant as people might think it is, because you have no control over what goes out.
You're literally signing your life away.
Literally. And I personally wouldn't do reality TV unless I have creative control over what is pushed out.
My friend that I'm talking about, he actually said the same. He told me that because he was in the Army as well. And he said, Chase, I had more comfort signing my life away to the military, looking back now, than I did reality TV.
That says a lot.
Yeah. Love you, Ben. It's all going to work out. What would you do differently if, let's say, you were to create a reality TV show, having been on the other side of the camera? What would you do differently?
I would, if I was to create a reality TV show, I would base it off of, because I feel like you have to have drama, right? I would base the drama off more so like business aspect, things that could probably go left and that you want to go right, instead of more like things that you have to take home.
What do you
and
mean
it
by
has
that?
to be personal. Like, you know, reality TV, I feel like a lot of it focuses on relationship drama, which causes a lot of people to break up. You know, fortunately for my situation,
kind of pitting people against them.
Exactly.
Against each other,
And it causes a lot of friction in people's relationships. And because they kind of put you in a situation where you kind of have to deal with whatever it is, like head on, whether you want to or not. It'll be like, hey, the producers are like, hey, you have a lunch. And it's like, okay, who do I have a lunch with? Is it someone that I don't get along with? Or is it someone that we're having a jolly time at lunch, you know, having espresso martinis or whatever the case is. But it's always, I feel like it's always a setup, you know, and if you kind of know, if I was to be in charge, I would just make it to be like, let's say I'm doing a charity event. Like, let's say the show's about my association and we have the Women of Boxing and we have some sort of boxing show of, you know, women boxing. The women behind the boxers, let's just say.
Okay.
And we base it on the association till we give back, but our issues are not with our men, but our issues are more so like, all right, we're putting this big event together to do something for charity. We might not have enough tables. We might not have enough people that are coming. How are we going to get more people to come?
So remove the relationship aspect kind of entirely from that typical reality experience.
We'll have it, but not in a sense where it's making couples look bad, you know, because they have to go home at night and be with that person and the world is kind of in their ear, and it just leads to like moments of like questioning that it shouldn't have to lead to, because it would have never happened if it wasn't like a reality TV type of situation, I feel like, or maybe happened, but later on,
right?
Where you kind of have to face everything head on, and it's just easier to handle problems privately than publicly.
Yeah.
So I think, and publicly to the entire world, you know, I ended up getting pregnant, and my whole pregnancy from the time my baby was born, I had to do my baby shower. Everyone had to sign NDAs because no one knew I was pregnant.
Wow.
Besides like my close people.
Something you typically would not even have to think about.
I didn't even like post until the episode. I filmed 2016. It aired 2017. By the time it aired, my baby was
pushing 1 probably.
No, my baby was, I want to say like maybe like 6 or 7 months. Yeah, closer to 1. So
the word's out.
Yeah, like no one knew. And then I'm on Access Hollywood like, hey, my baby's name is this, you know, and I'm like I have a whole child already. Like it's not a newborn, you know? So it's just very time frame wise. I mean, that's a long time ago. Now it's kind of different on the time frame. On how they air. Yeah, they're pushing way it out faster. Like crazy now. So that time frame was kind of just like hard to like keep that a secret when you're so like overwhelmed with joy that like, hey, this child is here.
This isn't just any life event. This is a child, like one of the most personal things that I'm sure you would want to share in such a unique fashion for you and your family.
Absolutely. Damn. So that was kind of like hard. So just having the aspect of like, you can have little drama with family, but if it's like something that's like very detrimental in a relationship, like a ultimatum type of vibe, I think that's just like wrong to put people in those situations to kind of give them that like platform to just be so vulnerable. But that's like what they know sells. So it's kind of like you have this like lose-lose situation, you know?
So we got to get you on like a take back reality TV, you know, reality by the reality stars kind of thing.
Yeah, that would be dope.
How's that not a thing already? I feel like that's kind of an obvious thing.
Yeah, imagine all the reality people come together and they're all like different characters. So
oh wow, yeah.
It's just my gosh, I can't even imagine like all the they actually have a reality show now that's like House of Villains where they have all the villains of the reality shows.
Which immediately everyone's being labeled as a villain. Like,
and that's insane.
Talk about a unique lens you're looking through there.
Yeah.
Like, geez.
And then it's like mentally too, that takes a toll on people too, because I feel like there's some reality stars that I know that kind of like, you know, push out that person that they are on TV when that camera comes.
I'm sure, absolutely,
when that camera comes on. And even in real life, and it's like, the camera is not on. Like, you don't have to be a bad girl, or you don't have to be a villain, or you don't have to be who they portray you to be, you know, kind of like living up to that character. And it doesn't have to be like that. Just be you.
Do you think a lot of people that go on reality TV don't know who they are? And that's why maybe it's easier for them to just be kind of, hey, this is who we see you as, be that person.
110%. I feel like there's people that don't know who they are, not even on reality TV, because that's something that you have to learn within yourself too, because again, it goes back to the household. You're taught to be who you are from the beginning of life. So when you kind of get to that, like your own personal identity, that's kind of like, you know, we can't put an age on that. Like people say when you're 18, you're grown and you be who you are, and it's not that simple.
Legally, that's about it. That's about
exactly,
it.
Exactly.
You mentioned your charity work. Can you share with us more about that? Why? Because you do a lot with charity organizations, 501cs, events, fundraisers. I think I saw just line after line after line, looking up all the things that you do and the charity work. Why is this so important to you? And what are some of the causes? And what impact are you really having out there?
Yes. So I started Boxing Wags Association years ago in 2017 after I did reality TV. And I realized there was a platform for the women of the NFL, the women of the NBA, but there wasn't one for the women of boxing. And because like there's so much trauma involved in our sport, broken bones and, mental illness and just a lot of that going on. And we didn't have like, I guess, a union to come together and talk to each other or like give back to the community. I was like, why not come up with one? And
did you feel like you all were kind of like this island out there? There was.
Yeah, I just feel like, if I'm going through something, I know someone else is probably going through the same thing, whether it's, you have a man and he's fighting and he gets injured, or like the physical therapy after the fight that they have to endure, because people only see the 33 minutes when they're in the ring and that's it. They don't understand the camps that they have to go through, the body aches, all of that preparation prior to
brain health trauma.
Or afterwards, what you have to deal with the healing process of everything. So I just felt like it was necessary to come up with like a group of women and that can talk to each other, that can come together and give back. And our eldest daughter has spina bifida as well too. So initially I was like, I wanted to do something for the Spina Bifida Association. And I started off with that at Deontay's fights. And then I was like, there's so many other things that need
running,
awareness.
Like charity event, fundraiser event at his fights?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, at his fights, whether it's the MGM, wherever he's fighting. So if he's fighting at MGM Grand, then I'm doing something at the MGM Grand and just raising awareness for Spina Bifida at MGM Grand.
That's probably got to help with the family cohesion as well. Like you're not all off doing separate things.
I
am.
Times. I fight week is like
it's charity week.
Insane.
Yeah.
It's charity week. It's make sure Deontay's good. It's make sure everyone is in their rooms. Like I'm the assistant. I'm the mom. I'm the
nurse.
The nurse. I'm the philanthropist. I'm literally everywhere. Like I feel like chicken with my head cut off fight week. So it's intense, but like I just love the pressure of it. And it ends up beautiful in the end. But with charity, I just feel like there's so many things that need awareness and need funds. And if we're in a position to be able to do that, why not do it? I started with spina bifida. I got into autism, the spectrum of autism. So children transitioning from adolescence to their teenage years with autism. And then I did breast cancer as well too. And then prostate cancer. My dad had a scare, and then I ended up doing prostate cancer male events at golf tournaments, and that's been super successful for me. And we get a lot of like celebrities that come out and golf, and it's not just for men, because I'm like, all right, most of the women don't golf that come to the events. So I made it so they can get their makeup done, they can get cavitation, they can get lymphatic drainage, they can get their hair done, they can sip champagne, they can go to the auction. So it's like a full on event, not just golf. So it's super fun.
I'm hearing in most of those personal connection to the charities. Is that how you find your affinity towards charities? Is someone in your life experiences something like, wait a minute, I can do something here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, like I said, there's so many different charitable organizations that you can help and go to, which I feel like I still want to do something with mental health. I want to do something with cancer always is huge, children's health, just things that I feel I can relate to, or someone close to me has related to, or someone in the association might bring up to my attention. Because there's so many things, probably things that I haven't even named that need
I'm
help.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So we're just a group of women that just helps our communities and just gives back to whatever and wherever we can.
I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of people who want to get involved with charity, whether donating time, money, resources, whatever, you kind of wonder really, where is this going?
Yes.
If someone wants to get involved, how would you best recommend them to get involved with a place, an event, an organization, and really know that what they're doing is actually making an impact to the people that need it? Yes.
Personally, I like experience that I've had within myself and the charities that I work with. I like working with smaller charities, not so much like big corporations at times, where you don't know where the funds are going
Maybe
towards.
more like local?
Yeah, like for example, Breast Cancer Angels, they give money to people that have breast cancer, help with like groceries and help with like the everyday necessities, as opposed to like going to like big cancer research foundations to where you're helping them right now instead of years from now. So that's kind of
people
like,
that are struggling, especially with cancer, just, any kind of struggle that requires charitable help. They're still human, right? They're still
absolutely
got to have the energy, the coordination, the community, the rides, the finances to get groceries, to run errands, to go to their appointments, to get all these things.
And when you're at a certain stage, you're no longer capable to work. So how are you going to get your everyday necessities done and taken care of? So just the more direct help, quicker. I like working with them, and charitable organizations that like help, that like give you brochures, send a representative there, a lot of
more like hands-on.
Yeah, very, very hands-on. People that do charity events, it has to kind of be near and dear to your heart, because I've dealt with people coming to events that might not necessarily have that passion for the cause and kind of just go there for the look.
You can probably tell.
And you're kind of like, wait, this isn't what we're here. It's fun. Don't get me wrong, but there's a bigger purpose and a bigger goal here at the end. You want to make it a good time, and I love that. It's a good time, but we're here for a reason. You get people that come and that just want to get their Getty image picture and don't want to donate anything, or like leave before the auction happens. And that's not the purpose of the event that we're having here, So we want to make sure people are putting their checkbooks out and it's going to what we're really doing it for.
What is currently the biggest goal that you have with your charity work as a whole?
I eventually want to open up, whether it's an orphanage or some type of facility that can house children and give them a home and find better situations for them, and in hopes that we can like fund all of that.
All right.
So that's the ultimate.
Let's put it out there. Let's make it happen.
Yes.
Big
Put that energy in there.
you.
Absolutely.
I want to, as we kind of get towards the end here, I recently heard this unique question that I want to try out on you. All right.
Okay.
Tomorrow you wake up, God forbid, and you have no memory of your entire life up to that moment. You meet a stranger. What would you hope for them to tell you? And you also meet your daughter. What would you want her to tell you?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to start with my daughter. If I meet my daughter and I don't know who I am, I would hope she tells me who I am to her and how I've impacted her life, whether that's good or bad. So I know how to go about taking care of her. And for a stranger, I would probably want, I guess, to spend the day with that person just so they can kind of tell me who I am, because I don't know who I am. So kind of, I guess, push myself on that person so they can kind of give me memory of who I actually am.
Kind of see, like,
being that they don't know me without like
go
being
through everyday
judgmental.
life and see what you connect with, maybe.
Yeah, because I feel like if you're asking a stranger who you are as a person, what can they really tell you if they don't know you? So they have to have that like moment of interaction with you to kind of get to know who you are. And then I can be like, all right, at the end of this day or however long we spend together, what do you think about
I got
me?
something. I'm going home with something.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I heard that question. I saw a clip on social media.
That's a good question.
It was a really good question. I thought so as well. It was actually, and I really want to do this later on with a piece of content, it was two guys that had been best friends for, I think, like 15 years. And they were prompted these questions, and it's filmed facing each other. And the question was, if I woke up tomorrow and did not remember who I was at all, like, what would you tell me? Like, who would you tell me that I am?
Right.
It was super impactful and super emotional. You could see this guy just like really be taken aback and get emotional about just the thought, imagining my best friend of 15 years, like all that's gone.
Yeah.
Now I gotta retranslate all that in one fell swoop.
And it's almost like it gives out that impression when like people have dementia and they completely forget or remember certain moments to where you kind of have to bring it back to them, or 50 First Dates, you know?
Oh, yeah.
That movie.
The Notebook.
Exactly. Where I just feel like there's certain things that it's just like only certain people can tell you who you are. So it gives two completely different extremes, like your child and a stranger.
Yeah.
I would hope my child tells me like, you know, you were this person as a mom, and you were this person as a person, and you were this person as a businesswoman, and you were this person, and, you know, tell me all these things so I can kind of recollect my memory on who I am. And then
see what sits with you.
Yeah, see what sits with me. And then also, I wouldn't want just all the good too. I would want to know where, hey, mom, you could have, you know, made more time with me instead of worked as much.
That might be the opportune moment for her to unleash. Like, well, you don't remember anything? All right, I got you. I'm going to unload.
Exactly.
Yeah, the stranger part was something that I thought of. And I wasn't expecting that response. It was a really unique response. I was kind of thinking, just kind of given, you know, your public figure-ness, you know, maybe I made the assumption that somebody would know who you are. And then kind of give the public opinion of like, oh yeah, like I know you as this person, you know, and like you're this person, and you know, just this is what I, you know, scroll through and catch you as. But I like where you went with that. That was really good.
I you know what? If it was that perspective, that would be hard, because I feel like what my daughter would tell me would be completely different than what the stranger would tell me, being what they saw on TV.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like the image that was portrayed on me on TV was a very vulnerable, kind of like weak-minded individual. And that's not who I am at all, completely. I'm very, very strong. And I feel like at that moment I was pregnant, so my emotions were just everywhere.
Absolutely.
You know, and I'm like not a big crier, and I was crying all the time. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I just look like weak. Like, you know, I'm like, I am so strong. So it's just crazy for that perspective of just not knowing you or judging a book by its cover. You know, there's times I encounter certain situations where like, you know, like men, for example, if they have a spouse, like they don't want their spouse to come on my podcast. I'm like, you can bring your girl, bring your kids, and I'm just like, if I didn't look the way that I look, maybe it wouldn't be an issue for a man to come to my podcast, you know, without a spouse, or like their spouse will be comfortable with them coming on, or like if I didn't look the way that I look, people might not judge me for, you know, the things that they judge me for. So I feel like you can't necessarily judge a book by its cover or what you see on TV, because there's so much more to a person than just that.
And how many more covers do we all have now?
Exactly.
Whether we're on TV or not, I mean, we have the real world here, our like friends and family, coworkers, our social media presence. We have so many different covers to the book that is us that are out there now that we maybe don't realize, but you know, hopefully now this is kind of a nice little call to action for everybody to think about that.
Absolutely. And listen, the people that are on TV, you prepare for TV. Like, I don't look like this at home when I wake up every day. You know, like I don't have my hair perfectly flat and curled and all that.
This isn't Everford exclusive, everybody.
This is not like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's very like glorious and glamified on TV than it is in real life. Like it's just like Instagram and reality. Like what you're putting out on Instagram is, you're not going to put out like your hair is nappy, you know, half your lashes are gone, or whatever the case is.
I thought that was just me.
You know, so it's like you're going to put out your best stuff and what you want people to see. Right. You're not going to show them every nitty gritty part of your life that, you know, might be vulnerable. So or you might do, and that's like your thing.
Would you say that you consciously put out reality? You know,
I feel like I put out what I want people to see.
Okay.
I put out what I believe in, like as far as brands go, what I would pick out. But there's moments in my life that I feel is not for Instagram. That's, for my family or like, whether you argue with your spouse or like you might have an issue with like your kids' grades. Like I'm not going to be like, hey, let me post this bad grade that my child got and publicize and like,
that won't scar them for life, I'm sure.
Yeah, like it's just certain things that I feel like are just private moments.
Absolutely.
That you can handle in your household and not for the world to see.
Well, Telli, this has been great. You have such a diverse background of quite literally who you are as a person, where you've lived, what you have done, public persona, overcoming that, multiple children. I mean, it's just like, I feel like I got maybe a quarter into who you are and what you're doing.
One episode.
We'll get you for the next one.
Absolutely.
But the last question, to bring it back home to the story I was sharing with you earlier about the meaning and the story behind Ever Forward. When you hear Ever Forward, those two words, what does that mean to you? How would you say that you live a life ever forward?
Ever Forward to me is literally the words that it is. To me, ever is just like forever moving forward and just continuing to grow and continuing to be positive and motivating in life and just go forward, up and stuck. It's just another word for up and stuck, ever forward. I love it. Just keep going up and keep progressing in life.
Kind of brings us full circle to what you talked about at the beginning of like the expectation of growth that you have for yourself.
Absolutely.
Growth comes only from going through hard shit.
Absolutely. Agreed. Hardship.
And from choosing to go and choosing, to your point, choosing to keep moving forward.
Absolutely. I think that if you're stagnant in life, you're not progressing. Like comfortability is not progress. It's just stationary. It's not going anywhere. And a lot of people get stuck in that comfortable zone. And I just feel like it's not a growing moment, and I think that we grow, whether that's in age, whether that's, in life. It could be a growth downwards or a growth upwards, but there's growth every day. And I feel like you just have to be focused and just study yourself and kind of figure out how you want to grow and move. Study
yourself. That's an important takeaway. You listening, take note of that. I know I did. Where can my audience go to connect with you more? What do you got going on most in the world these days? We'll, of course, have everything listed down in the show notes. But if they want to connect with you, learn more, where can they go? What are you up to?
Yes. If you want to connect with me, you can find me at Telli, Telli Swift on Instagram. Or if you want to check out my charitable work, you can go to boxingwagsassociation.org or follow that Instagram. And I also have fragrances and candles and all that good stuff. And you could follow that on dtellifragrances.com, or the Instagram is the same as well too. And it's unisex, so it's for everybody.
And thank you again, by the way. I got that little care package from the event last year. They're great.
Thank you so
the
much.
Branding also is really impressed with that.
Thank you. It was a timely,
so well curated.
Very, that's my little baby.
Yeah.
So down to the feel of the box is
yes, absolutely.
part of my OCD journey.
Which people don't think about. What does a box feel like? Who cares? But you did. And it shows.
Absolutely.
And it shows.
Thank you so much.
This is great, Telli. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you so much.